Hello everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar. So today we've got colleagues from across National Highways joining us, as well as suppliers and other external interested parties. So welcome all. And I should also add welcome back to those who joined our last webinar to find out more about our new challenge-led approach and how we really use this to build our interim year Innovation and Research Designated Fund programme. So if you haven't seen the first webinar, the recording is available from our challenge-led approach webpage, so I would encourage you to watch it back. So I can see we've got 130 joined us already, so it's great to see so many of you with us. So I will make a start. So for anyone that isn't aware, my name's Claire Haymar. I'm Head of Innovation at National Highways. Today I'm going to be sharing more on our next open call and the business challenges that we're going to fund through our Innovation and Research Designated Fund. So just a bit of housekeeping, we will be recording today's webinar, so you'll be able to watch it back. And for those who registered but haven't been able to join live, you'll be able to access the recording. To manage the time available today and to ensure that we do capture all Q&As in one place, because we will be publishing them afterwards, we have disabled the chat and the ability to come on camera to ask questions. So please do use the Q&A function throughout the session. So feel free to submit your questions as we go. We have got members of the team who are working behind the scenes to review the questions, to try and filter out any duplicates and be able to publish responses. So today I am going to be taking you through each of the business challenges. We have co-created these with subject matter experts from relevant areas of National Highways. So there are likely to be technical questions that we can't answer live today, but please don't worry about that. We will follow up with a full list of Q&As alongside the recording of this session. So we're doing this in really good time to really allow you time to digest those challenges and ask any questions, and for all of this to happen before the open call launches on the 3rd of November. At the end of today's webinar, we will have a look at the most frequently asked questions and all those that have been upvoted. We'll also be sharing an email address, so you can send through any further questions after the webinar. What I would say is if you are watching the recording, please do check the published Q&As before submitting a new question, as you may find it's already been asked and answered. I would also ask that you do check the supporting guidance that we've published. We have updated this since the first webinar, and you can access this and all of the rest of the relevant information from our challenge-led approach webpage on our website. Okay, so what will we be covering today? We're going to start with some reminders. So we are going to recover some of the information from the first webinar. We're not going to go into the same level of detail. So again, please do go back and watch that if you weren't able to join. We're going to start with a reminder of the challenge-led approach, what this means in the context of National Highways and what this means for our designated fund. I'm going to do a reminder of the November open call, both the submissions and the assessment process, and then also a reminder of our two-stage procurement approach and funding expectations. So any projects that receive funding from our designated fund, what are those expectations on you? We'll then get into the main part of today's webinar, where we'll look at the 5 prioritised business challenges. We'll look at them at summary level and then look at each in more detail. I'll then summarise at the end some further information, so where you can find information after today's webinar. And then, as I said, as we close, we will also look at any questions that have come in throughout the webinar. Okay, so our first reminder point is what we mean when we talk about a challenge-led approach. So we have adopted a challenge-led approach to our Innovation and Research Designated Fund. This happened for the interim year, so we've had a year of running in that way, and we will continue to operate in that way throughout RIS3. And this is all about aligning what we do for our Innovation and Research Designated Fund with our long-term strategy. It's about us being a lot clearer and setting top-down direction for both the programme development, but also the areas we invest in. We've worked really hard with different areas of the business to really understand those business challenges that we have to solve to reach some of our priorities and long-term ambitions. And we've really focused on the areas where the solutions are unknown. So we're going to get maximum value from research and innovation, and we're not going to duplicate work that's happening elsewhere in the business. We'll then look to fund these challenges through our designated fund, be a lot more transparent and send a clearer signal to industry, to National Highways colleagues and other external stakeholders to really help us identify those shared areas of interest and areas where we can collaborate. And even if we don't know at the outset how we're going to solve a challenge, we can be really clear on the desired outcomes that we're looking to achieve and the expected benefits we want to achieve from solving the challenge. So in summary, this is all about connecting strategy to delivery, starting with our long-term strategy that sets those priorities and ambitions, identifying those gaps that innovation and research can add most impact, being really clear in our communications so that we can foster collaboration, and building our programme, taking forward those project ideas that have the greatest potential to tackle those challenges and deliver real impact. Okay, so the second area that I'm just going to do a bit of a reminder on is the open call submissions and the assessment criteria that we use. So as I hope people are aware, our next open call is in November. The open call submissions open on the 3rd of November and submissions close on the 8th of December. So it's open for a full 5 weeks for people to be able to submit their project ideas. We look forward to welcoming applications from our internal National Highways colleagues, from suppliers and from other interested parties. We encourage partnerships, but they're not required. And it should be noted that we cannot provide support for kind of that partnership matchmaking for this next open call. Okay, so we also looked at this in the previous webinar, but just to recap again, just to give you an idea of the level of information required to submit a project idea. We are not looking for people to submit a detailed business case at this stage of the open call, but we do need sufficient information so that we can assess the idea and prioritise the ones that we'll be taking forwards. So for each project idea submission, it will need a project title. This should be descriptive of what the project is going to do. We have set a word limit for the project description, and this is to make sure that it makes the assessment process also proportionate. So we really need that concise description focusing on what are the main goals or purpose of the project, what are the key activities that are going to be undertaken in this phase, what is the project going to deliver, and what resources required. We've then tried to make it as easy as possible for people to submit ideas. So we have lots of pick lists and drop downs. So the first thing people will need to do is to select the challenge that their project idea aligns to. So each project idea can only align to a single challenge. So once you've selected that, you can then pick from one or more outcomes that your project supports and one or more expected benefits your project supports. We then ask that people provide the funding required for this phase. We know that some of our project submissions are going to be multi-phase, that will run over multi-years. So if there is potential, if the project's successful, for us to continue funding it, we do ask that people enter an estimate of how much this funding may be. We then have a number of areas that are optional, so they're going to be relevant to some project ideas, but not relevant to others. The first is the project sponsor. So all designated fund projects need a National Highways project sponsor. This should be someone that has the technical knowledge to be able to present the business case. They'll also be expected to do that day-to-day project management, so they will need access to the National Highways systems to be able to forecast and receipt invoices. The second optional area is our delivery. So if the project idea needs a scheme to deliver on, or it needs engagement with one of our delivery arms, then this is the opportunity to provide us with information if some of these conversations have already taken place. So if a delivery arm is already being engaged, then you can enter this here. If a scheme's been identified, then this can also be entered. And the third area we look at is specifically for our digital and data projects. So within National Highways, we do have digital services governance that all digital and data projects must adhere to. So this is the opportunity to let us know if you've already engaged with Digital Services National Highways colleagues. The last part of the submission is a high-level assessment. The first part of this is the impact effort assessment. So we try and identify projects as being either an easy win, so something that's lower effort but it's going to have high impact, or a big bet? So is it going to take more effort to deliver, but again, is it going to deliver high impact? And then the final area is that time to value assessment. Again, for innovation and research projects, we know there can be a longer lead-in time before we start to see the benefits realised. So we look over 3 different time horizons and ask people to assess whether their project idea is likely to deliver benefits in the short term, so the next 5 years, in the medium term, so the next 10 years, or in the long term, anything greater than 10 years. Okay. So after our open call closes, we will assess all of the ideas and prioritise those that we take forwards. So we look at 2 areas as part of this assessment. The first area is alignment and the second area is portfolio balance. So when it comes to alignment, first we look at the strength of alignment to the challenge, the outcomes and the expected benefits. And we assess the submissions as high, medium or low. The second area of alignment is all around alignment to innovation and research. So is this an innovation and research project that we can fund through this fund? And again, the assessment is done on a high, medium, low basis. And then the second area we look at is making sure that we have balance across our innovation programme. So we want to make sure that we're funding both easy wins and big bets, and we also want to make sure that we're funding across those different time to value horizons. So we're not only funding kind of the shorter term projects that are going to deliver in the next 5 years, apologies, but we're also considering the longer term. So for a lot of those projects that aren't going to deliver for another 10 years, we really need to start working on them now if we're going to meet those challenges. Okay, so the final part of the reminder section, I am going to go through again our 2-stage procurement process and also funding expectations. So this is a really important part that we want to be really transparent on, which is why we're repeating it again today. We are running a multi-phase procurement approach. First, we will look to identify opportunities. So this is in effect the open call. So we run the open call. We have that long list of project ideas and we prioritise those we want to take forwards. We then look at how we deliver those opportunities. So for each of the project ideas we want to take forwards, we'll publish a pre-market engagement notice. If only the idea submitter responds to that, then we'll move forward with the direct award. If more than one supplier responds, then we'll move forward with a competitive tender. So I think it's really important just to highlight that submission of an idea does not imply or guarantee the submitter will be contracted to deliver it. So this approach makes sure through the opportunity identification, we're able to identify all the high potential ideas. And then through the delivery, we are ensuring that we follow a fair, transparent and compliant route to delivery, and we remain in line with public procurement regulations. Okay, so the very final reminder is around funding expectations. So for all projects that we fund through the Innovation and Research Designated Fund, we expect them to follow these steps before and during delivery. So the first is a business case. For all projects that we fund, a business case will need to be brought to the Innovation and Research Programme Board and approved before any work commences. The second is an innovation scorecard. So we do have a scorecard, and this not only helps us with our stage gate decisions and continuing to invest in projects, but it's also a tool to help projects in their planning and delivery. So it takes quite a holistic look at an innovation project, and it looks at the desirability, feasibility and viability. And this is to make sure that we're considering all of those different areas at each stage of the innovation pathway to give a project the greatest chance of moving from a really great idea to a really successful pilot into BAU. So, for example, a project may spend a lot of time focusing on the technical feasibility of an idea, but we also want to make sure that they're thinking about things like routes to scaling. So this scorecard helps us uncover any gaps and supports the project in future planning and delivery. The third area is benefits management. So we do have a benefits management framework. We are continuing to mature our approach to benefits management in National Highways. We expect all projects to define, measure and track their project benefits. And then the fourth and final area is case studies. So we do expect all projects to complete a case study on completion. If it's a project that's likely to run over multi-phases or multi-years, there may be a need to complete case studies at key milestones, and we will publish these case studies on our website to share learning and outcomes. Okay, so now I'm going to move us on to the main part of today's webinar, where we will share the 5 business challenges that we've prioritised for this open call that you can submit your project ideas to have funded and included in the programme. So these are the 5 business challenges, and I just want to be really clear that they do not reflect all priorities across National Highways. There are only so many challenges that we can bring into the pipeline for an open call to ensure that it is proportionate for us, to ensure that it is clear for those responding. So this challenge pipeline will remain agile. It will change throughout the RIS period, and it will support lots of different priorities, different long-term ambitions, and this will all be done through future open calls. So for our November open call, we are focusing on customer experience, road safety, and broader health, safety and wellbeing. So the first challenge that we're looking to address is a customer experience challenge, and it is how can we improve customer experience of journey time? Our second challenge looks at road safety, and the challenge is how can we increase safety on A roads? Our third challenge is also a road safety challenge, and this challenge considers how can we maximise safety benefits while improving resilience of our network assets. Our fourth challenge moves on to health, safety and wellbeing. So this challenge focuses on how can we reduce live traffic interface risks. And our fifth and final challenge also looks at health, safety and wellbeing, but how can we reduce occupational health risks? So we're now going to look at each of these challenges in a bit more detail. So we have a challenge on a page that describes the challenge, sets the outcomes that we're looking to deliver, as well as the expected benefits. Before I jump into it, although it is a challenge on a page, so you do have all of the information on one page, it does contain quite a lot of information. So I just want to be clear on what you're going to see. It consists of 4 main components that I'll go through. These challenges on a page will be available after today's webinar, so you can download them as PDFs. So you'll be able to download these slides as a PDF with all of the challenges, but they're also available as an HTML page on our website. So the 2 options are there. When you look at a challenge on the page, the first thing you'll see is number 1, it's the challenge statement. So this is either the problem we're looking to solve or the opportunity that we're looking to realise. This challenge statement is supported by a short narrative that describes why this is a priority for National Highways. It's also supported by evidence and data that supports and really evidences that challenge. The third part of the challenge on a page is the list of outcomes that we want to achieve in solving the challenge. And the fourth part are the expected benefits. So what are those benefits that we want to realise through solving this challenge? And when you're putting your project submissions in, you'll be selecting kind of the challenge statement. You'll be selecting 1 or more of those outcomes that you feel your project supports, and 1 or more of the expected benefits your project supports. Okay, so moving on to our first challenge. How can we improve customer experience of journey time? So we know that delay and journey time are key drivers of customer satisfaction. We have associated key performance indicators. These are both average delay and our SRUS. So our SRUS is the Strategic Road Users Survey. It's run by Transport Focus, and it's that formal measure of user satisfaction for those driving on the strategic road network. So this challenge is key to us. It's key to our journey from moving from road builder to network operator to really becoming that customer service provider. It also supports delivery of our customer service strategy that you'll be able to find on our website. So we've identified 5 desired outcomes that we want to achieve from solving this challenge. And those are, how can we improve how we explain and communicate delay, roadworks and expected journey time? The second, how can we improve management of recurrent delays and reduce hotspots? How can we reduce incident duration and associated delays? How can we minimise the impact of roadworks by optimising network occupancy? And the final one, how can we enhance journey experience through better use of customer-centric data? So those are the outcomes. We then have also identified 4 expected benefits that we want to achieve by solving this challenge. The first one, how can we improve customer satisfaction? How can we reduce delays and make more effective use of our resources? How can journey time savings and broader economic benefits be achieved? And the final one is how can we strengthen public trust and operational reputation? So that is our first challenge. So the graphics on this slide, they highlight a correlation between journey time and journey satisfaction. They also highlight that there is a link between average delay and the SRAS user satisfaction. And one of the graphics also shows the different factors that can result in delay. So we are looking for those project ideas that not only improve customer experience of journey time, but we also want the solutions to consider other key factors. These include safety, environmental sustainability, scalability, and value for money. Okay, so moving us on to the second challenge. How can we increase safety of A roads? So in RIS3, we will face more than ever before the need for innovative solutions, which really have a demonstrable reduction in the number of deaths and seriously injured on the strategic road network. So again, we've identified a number of outcomes that we want to achieve in solving this challenge. We want to reduce the frequency and severity of shunt collisions. We want to reduce the likelihood and/or severity of KSIs. And we want to improve safety on both single and dual carriageway A roads. So as the graphics on the slide show, our A roads form a significant percentage of the overall SRN in length. They see less traffic in volume, but they actually make up a greater proportion of people killed or seriously injured. So we've also identified a number of expected benefits that we'd want to realise through solving this challenge. We want to reduce the risk of fatality or serious injury. We want to give people smoother journeys with fewer disruptions. And we really want safer journeys to build the public's confidence. So we're looking for those project ideas and practical safety solutions for those roads that need it most, in this case, our A roads. So these solutions should also consider other key factors, including environmental sustainability, scalability, and value for money. Okay, so I'm now going to move us along to our third challenge. So our third challenge is, how can we maximise safety benefits whilst improving resilience of our network assets? So this is a safety challenge, but it really is enabled through improving the longevity and resilience of assets across the entire network. So as I've done before, I'll take you through each of the outcomes. So we've identified 4 desired outcomes that we want to achieve in solving this challenge. So the first is to improve asset resilience, to reduce renewals and enhance safety for road users and workers. And this links to some of our KPIs and PIs as shown on the slide. To improve asset data to not only support whole life costs, but also renewal planning. To improve asset accessibility or reduce the need for those in-person inspections, so removing people from the network. And to improve understanding of how renewal investment decisions impact safety outcomes and environmental sustainability. So this is one of our challenges that really does cross over between not only increasing safety, but really considering asset sustainability, which is a key focus for us. So this slide, it doesn't contain graphics or data as such, but hopefully it contains a useful narrative for people that really sets out how a resilient network and resilient assets relate to a zero harm network. It really focuses on maintenance and renewal activity, as well as insufficient activity that not only creates risks for road users, but also introduces exposure risk to road workers. So our KPIs and PIs are used to measure safety outcome for both road users and workers. We've identified a number of benefits that we want to achieve in solving this challenge. So the first one is to reduce risk of injury or fatality. The second one focuses on smoother journeys with fewer disruptions. We have a financial benefit, so the reduced need for future interventions and maintenance. And finally, one that looks at reputation, so how safer journeys build public confidence. So we really are looking for those project ideas that reduce the need for significant maintenance and renewals on existing assets over a long time horizon, and that are also able to deliver improvements which demonstrate safety benefits. As with the other challenges, the solution should also consider other key factors. These include environmental sustainability, scalability, and value for money. So next, our fourth challenge. So this challenge is, how can we reduce live traffic interface risks? So incursions into roadworks are one of our most significant risks for a fatality or life-changing harm in our workforce. So we have identified 4 desired outcomes from solving this really important challenge. And these are to eliminate the need for people to work in a live traffic environment, to minimise the duration and frequency of exposure to live traffic, to strengthen safe working practices in high-risk environments, and the final outcome that we're looking to achieve is to enhance safer behaviours among not only road workers but also road users. So as you'll see from the graphics on this slide, traffic management related incidents continue to occur year on year. These do present serious safety challenges for those working in a live traffic environment and in proximity to live lanes. We've identified a number of benefits that we would expect to see in solving this challenge. So the first one, safety. How can we reduce the risk of injury or fatality? The second one, how can we minimise that disruption and delays in traffic flow? Then have a financial benefit. So how can we lower costs through fewer accidents and improved efficiency? And finally, how can safer journeys, again, build public confidence? So we are looking for project ideas and practical safety solutions for one of our most significant risks to our workforce. And as I said before, these solutions should also consider those other key factors. So again, environmental sustainability, scalability, and value for money. Okay, so our fifth and final challenge, how can we reduce occupational health risks? So occupational health risks actually account for 99% of work-related fatalities and 88% of working days lost. They cost the UK over £21.6 billion each year. So this is a key challenge for us. So we have identified, again, a number of desired outcomes from solving this challenge. These are to reduce incidents of long-term ill health, to reduce working days lost to occupational conditions, to improve the identification and control of key highway health risks, to increase the adoption of preventable occupational hygiene practices, or preventative, apologies. And then the final one is to embed health risk elimination and substitution right early on from design and planning. So we've also, again, identified a number of expected benefits that we'd want to realise in solving this challenge. The first one, again, is safety, so the reduced risk of ill health, injury or fatality. The second one is operational, so better retention of experienced staff due to reduced ill health. Then have a third benefit around lower sickness absence and presenteeism due to illness. And the final one is lower costs through illnesses and injuries. So again, there are a number of graphics on the slide. They really show that there are many health hazards in highways which cause occupational diseases that have no cure. So we really are looking for project ideas and, again, those practical safety solutions that reduce or potentially design out occupational health risks from the outset. And for a final time, the solutions should also consider other key factors, including environmental sustainability, scalability, and value for money. So that takes you through each of the challenges that will appear in our next open call. I'm now going to summarise. So after this webinar, where can you find all of the information you need? And I really would encourage people to go to our challenge-led approach page. This is a web page on our website, so it's available internally and externally. It is that single source of information where we publish everything related to our challenge-led approach and our innovation and research designated fund. So on this page, you will find an overview of what the challenge-led approach is. You will find guidance from this page where you can understand more about the approach and any questions you may have. You will find the webinar recordings. So not only today's webinar, but the webinar from a couple of weeks ago, so you can access those. We have the Q&As that we published after our first webinar, that we will continue to update after this webinar, so you have one place to look for those questions and answers. And after this webinar is concluded, we will be launching a new open call page. So you will link to this page from our challenge-led approach page. So if you go on there, you will see a link to our open call 2025 page. On that page, you will find how you submit a project idea. So it will give you access to the form. This form will not go live until the 3rd of November. So if you click on it before then, the form will not be open. But from the 3rd of November, you'll be able to submit your project ideas. The form will then close, as mentioned, on the 8th of December. You will also be able to find details on each of the challenges. So again, you can download the PDF of each of the challenge on a page. Our open call page also has this in HTML, so you'll be able to scroll down through and have a look at each of those challenges. So that brings us to the end of the content of today's webinar. First, thank you to everyone who's joined us today. I really hope this session has helped you better understand the challenges that we're looking to tackle through our November open call, and the process we have for project ideas and how we fund them. So I'm going to give another reminder. The open call goes live on the 3rd of November. So from the 3rd of November, you can submit your project ideas. It will close on the 8th of December when we will start the assessment and prioritisation process. Please do go to the challenge-led approach page to get all the details, as I mentioned on the previous slide. And just before we wrap up, we will take a moment to review the questions that came in today during today's webinar. So I can see that Mel's there already. Mel.
Thanks, Claire, and thanks everyone who sent the questions, a range of questions. Of course, first one was around where can I find the first webinar recording. I've linked the page in the reply, and it's the same that Claire showed in the previous slide. So, and it's where you'll find all the information for the open call and the challenge-led approach. Some questions around addressing multiple challenges. Each project ideas should just align to one single challenge, and it's important because it's the first criterion that we use to prioritize the ideas. So stronger alignment is the key here. A project sponsor, again, a couple of questions on the project sponsor. It's optional to answer the question, but if you have a project sponsor, if you are a project sponsor, please do. Every project in National Highways in this fund needs to have a project sponsor to do all the technical delivery and the requirements for forecasting and accessing the systems. Route to market, again, we have a specific section in the guidance around the procurement and the process. It should be clear enough. Is there is a question around the co-funding is not a criteria that we use to prioritize the ideas. Again, around the challenges, we have prioritized these challenges, so we don't have opportunity to get any more for this time, and we have used specific criteria again to prioritize these challenges. Unfortunately, we don't have resources to solve and address all of them. Nothing else really, but yeah, we'll take offline those questions that we couldn't answer now and those that require inputs from other part of the business. And again, we will publish as soon as we can on our web page. And for any other question that may occur later, please use innovation@nationalhighways.co.uk email address to send, and using the subject Open Call 2025. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Mel, and thank you everyone for joining, and we will close there.